I'm Isaiah Underway, and with my art, I'm a rapper and also, working on singing and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna put that out until I know it's good. But yeah. So with my stuff, like I like it to resemble movies because I watch movies a lot, and so I put together like like a whole storyline that goes along with it and makes sense with what I have going on with in my life. I don't just it's hard for me just to write about stuff that don't mean nothing to me. And so I have all the songs that like in a certain order that goes along like a movie would. And something that I use is called the hero's journey. And basically it's the same thing people use in movies and stuff like that. So it sets up the whole scene, from the character whenever they're first, in their natural environment, then so on, character development and all that stuff. So that's what I got going on with my project. And one that I'm working on right now is called Spit and Dirt. And basically it's just going over pretty much digging in and really finding my groove, really digging into the groove that I found from my last project. Because my last project was more so something to put my feet on the ground and really get the flow of how things are, like, with recording, with writing, meeting people, performing, and different ways of making money and stuff like that. And so now this project is really me digging into that groove and why it's called spitting dirt, because that's the type of stuff you like spit in your hand and shit and better grip. But yeah, and this a few other things that I want to do with this off of this project is bring exclusive content to the people who I have as like my members now, because that's something I've been building, getting contacts, like phone numbers, emails. And so that's what I've started to do, and I've gotten pretty good amount now. And so now I'm just working on delivering to them and really, I guess, really leaning on to that. And I'm starting to see like how some the difference between being rich and being famous. And being rich, you have your exclusive people, people in that circle, whatever. Being famous, you're trying to reach like a hell lot more people and stuff like that. And uh, requires, I guess, in order to really do that, you got to go to like labels and stuff like that. At least to be faster, but you can just promote your own stuff, like running ads, understanding ads. And that's something I've been doing too, getting better with ads and really targeting my people. And so now I got a pool going, and so now I'm just continuing to throw money in there, beginning again next month, because I've spent a whole lot of money on this course that has been teaching me this stuff. And so now I'm having to, I guess, pause other ads and stuff so I can pay for the stuff that I've been putting on with it. But yeah, with my artistry, that's really what I like doing. I like having a genuine, honest, raw type of vibe with my music. And so I like delivering to people who really fuck with it.
Yeah.
And I don't really try to go after everybody just because I feel I don't know, I feel that also brings, I don't know, I just feel like there's more at that it costs more to do that, not just money wise, but like, who you are type thing. Uh, but yeah, that's what I got going on right now.
A lot going on. It's cool that you're like investing in yourself and that you know that you have to invest in yourself and be like a business person at the same time.
Yeah, that's something I definitely been had to really pick up on and switch gears these past couple of years, instead of just writing and stuff like that, because you ain't gonna get nowhere just writing or making music. You have to understand it's a business, and it's
Yeah.
actually kind of fun now.
Yeah, and it's not even necessary like you have to be the business side forever, but like something I
Yeah,
can learn from, or like I talked about in a previous interview, EJ Mallard was saying like I at first like had other people on my team so I can learn those basics, and then now I'm like more free with my business because they taught me what I need to do for my independence in music. So it's like it doesn't have to be forever. Like you could even like right now you could be doing business by yourself trying to figure out the business side and then hire someone. So it's like it's all a puzzle that you just have to fit for yourself. But it's just good that we're bringing an awareness that like there's no way that you can like reach a wider audience without having like business in mind.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because I know for the longest like like throughout high school and college and stuff, really college, because that's when I started getting into music for real. I was just focused on the music just to get good. And, I was thinking, if you're good, it's gonna spread around and stuff. But nah, that's not the case. I mean, it is like just a little bit, just tiny bit, but it's not gonna get you nowhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta understand the business side of everything, or you're
Yeah.
not gonna go nowhere.
Yeah, because like it's even like it's like you say, use the hero's journey. That's like a universal story, and like people aren't gonna know about that if they're 10 states away, but they
Yeah,
might relate to it.
yeah. So that's all. Yeah, that's really what I. It helps clear my helps me have a clear vision of what each song's about, and so I understand like what to pick at to like make the song more relatable to hit people a certain way like the movies would like like Star Wars and whatever else. But that hero's journey's been hitting pretty hard, and it's dope because like as I'm doing stuff in my life, like I can see how each part, like there's events in my life that match up with each part of the hero's journey, and that's just like crazy. Like I predict. Yeah, I can go ahead and say that. I predicted like what was going to happen next in my life because of that too. Like,
That's
for one, it
cool.
was like stuff that I prayed about, and so, well, this is just for like, okay, for like an example. Like recently, started dating this girl, right?
Mhm.
And now it was something I prayed about it and stuff like that. And also in like the hero's journey, there's this part where you like meet, it's like friends or allies or enemies and stuff like that. And it's a part of the hero's journey, and that was like my next phase that I was about to get into. So I was just predicting. I was like, hopefully, it is the girl that I'm trying to date and stuff like that, be with, build a life with and stuff like that. Uh, or maybe it's just somebody who can help me with the business or something like that. But I knew somebody was finna come. And
Oh
so
wow,
like
that's cool.
I was talking to one of my homegirls or whatever, and I I forgot how we got on the topic of the kind of woman that I want. And so we started talking and things like that, and I described her. And then the next day I had a performance at this spot over here, and another girl who performed, she told, I was hanging out with her for a little bit, and she told me she was about to go get one of her best friends. I was like, all right, cool. And the girl came, and I was like, oh, look at God, because the girl was the exact person I described. And I was like, that's some crazy shit. And
Yeah.
so that matched up with, my prayers and then also the phase of the hero's journey. I was like, damn, that's some crazy stuff. And so after that, I started realizing the patterns of like just whatever you do in life, because it's the same way. And hey, that shit blew my mind.
And it's cool because it's like relatable. Like we like you could tell that story and someone else out there, someone's gonna like relate to it regardless. So it's
Yeah.
cool that you're able to pinpoint that. I honestly wish I was able to recognize that more within my life because I definitely will repeat the same storyline over and over again. And it's like, how have you not learned this lesson? I'll go down the
Yeah.
same path. So I probably need to like reread or like restudy the hero's journey plot because I remember learning that in high school as well and then like going over in like English class in college. So like
Huh.
I love the fact that like you when you're doing music you think on like you're thinking in such a like a movie book like concept type of way because it's like that means your music might be good for future soundtracks or it might be
Yeah.
your comic book or let's turn into something. So it's good that you
Yeah.
bigger with your music and you're not just like but it doesn't matter. I think music is music, but it's cool that you think bigger as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
With me is like also, well, this is another thing that I learned too after building my last project, but building for like performances, like building songs for like performing in like, real life or whatever.
Mhm.
And that changes the way I write and changes the way I view certain songs and certain parts of the song. When people chant and people don't chant, when people are like more tuned in and just different things. So
Mhm.
that's what I write about as well too. And just the whole story thing makes it easier for me to build like film type stuff. Because I do want to do like short films or and full movies like later on. But
Yeah,
also just building the songs to match the vibe of every to go down the line of the hero's journey makes it easier for me to do stuff like that that I
nice.
can build off of.
It's like orchestration. Like I know there's production like companies or whatever that fully like just orchestrate for movie soundtracks. So it's cool that like you're thinking in terms of an artist already, like that bigger picture of what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also cool the fact that you said it helps you give like sort of a framework. Like it reminds me of like there's these wireframes you can build in UX design. So you can like create these wireframes of like this is how I want my website layout to be. And
Hmm.
it reminds me of that, like because
Yeah.
music is such a thing that is like so free flowing that it can be overwhelming at a point of like which direction are we going?
Yeah. Yeah, that for sure. Because I know before I got into the hero's journey, that's pretty much how it was for me. It was like, damn, it's like just looking at a blank piece of paper and you don't know what to write about. It's just,
It's sort of like even
yeah.
with poetry, like we have the haiku, if I'm saying that right, like they have the like five syllable, seven syllable, five syllable, like it gives you a little bit of structure within art, and I think that's good to like have if your mind can't like grasp too much of what to do.
Yeah. And that's actually something that I picked up on. It was actually in college too. Like basically just having a framework makes it to where it actually builds creativity because if you're working on a certain frame, you have there's like certain parts, there's certain things that you can build off of that you wouldn't been able to think of if you didn't have that frame. And instead of just flowing,
Mhm.
having that framework builds like just pushes you to be more creative and stuff like that. So that's what I definitely feel whenever I be building projects like this.
That does make sense because it's sort of like a rat in a box type thing. Like, how can I get out of this box? Like, what?
Yeah,
How could like I see what you're saying because then you have to like you're like I know I have a set goal and but there's these little things and I just see the maze of that versus like here's just a piece of paper blah like you need something to work off of because like
yeah,
in a way is building off of something, so it's cool
yeah,
that you thought of that. That's cool.
yeah.
So what
But
project are you dropping next?
the Spit and Dirt project, I don't know exactly when I'm gonna drop it yet, but I know I have the EP that I'll be sending out to like my members first, and that'll
Cool.
be like sometime in March. I still got to record, and right now it's like rough draft. So what I do whenever I be creating songs, like I don't try to make the full beat. I just make what grabs me. Like if I have just maybe it's just a guitar or something, or maybe it's just drums.
Mhm.
I'll just write off of that and then build, come back to it and throw drums on and whatever else later. And also have a dude who helps me produce stuff. Like he really helps me with the drums, and I like create the samples. And that's mainly what I go off of is like samples. And then I'll start writing and then send it to him. He'll add drums on it if I don't have any and go off of that. And right now I got probably about 5 songs that are either done or almost done. Now, I just need to record 3 and send that off to the members and see what they think and things like that. And then I'll release it later on to like like all the platforms, Spotify and
That's good.
Apple Music, all that stuff.
So that's good that you have like a feedback loop of like people that you send it to for like quality assurance in a way instead
Yeah,
of just dropping. I think that's really good when people do that too, just to make sure like it's just like a pre-check, you know? That's good.
yeah,
And so with
yeah.
your members, how do you decide who should pre-check your work and how do you know that it's quality advice given or if they're just like kissing up to you or anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I send it to the members just to share stuff with them and get their feedback. But there are like a few people that I send it to get like honest feedback. Um, and how I know that they give honest feedback is because they told me before when songs suck. And so those are people who I go to and like people who aren't afraid to like hit me hard because
Good.
honestly I don't like artists that or yeah I don't like artists or it's really anything that goes with being like critiqued or whatever because if someone takes it hard and they can't handle it, it makes it hard for other people to be honest with you when you need that honesty because being honest is the only way you're gonna grow. If you can't take being honest, you're not really trying to grow. Like to me, I'm open when people could tell me, like, yeah, man, that was ass or that sucked or whatever. But as long as they tell me why, then I don't care what they say. As long as they tell me why, then I can build off of that.
That is so good too, because it keeps people humble. Because like even outside the music, like I feel like when people just this is in life, like you have friends that aren't like holding you accountable, like saying, "Hey, you're being ridiculous right now," or "I don't think that's a smart move." Like you're just like leading yourself into like a fiery pit. So like
Yeah,
bring that into music is so good, especially because you don't want to be like some huge artists right now where they obviously had no one checking their ego and they're just totally off the rails with
yeah,
everything. And like it must suck to like finally get that ego death once you have like millions of followers and millions of dollars and no one's around you anymore. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That has to be empty. Like, that yeah, that would suck. Now, like just seeing people do that, like artists and people and whatever, whoever, like I pick up on stuff like that, and I learn. It's like, okay, yeah, don't do that because what is it that what is it they say? It's like pride comes before the fall or something like that. I think
Mm,
that's what they say. But basically, you get too big headed, that's when somebody's about to, you know, be done.
yeah. Because it's like, who wants to be around that 24/7? Like, no one wants,
Yeah,
like, if I can't be heard in a dynamic, I don't want to be in the dynamic anymore.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really good that you do that. So with your members, are they, is this also like a group that you send merch off to first or anything like that? Because I saw that you're dropping merch as well.
yeah. So I send them off like the links and stuff to the merch, and they get discounts and things like that, and they let me know what they think of it and stuff like that, and it's just real cool just being able to have that, having that fan base, because like this is my first time actually like uh I guess making money, like to where it's like, dang, that's cool. Like, I
Good.
mean, it wasn't like crazy amount of money, nothing like that. Because I just started doing it, I guess like at the beginning of January or mid-January. But
Of
after I
2023?
started building in, huh?
Of this year?
Yeah,
That's still good.
yeah. Like I've sent, like it was just cool just being able, because I read up, this is stuff that I read about like back in high school. Is like, basically like having an email list or a text list or whatever, and just having, you know, bringing you first, you got to start with good stuff first, but just being able to send that off, and people who appreciate it and want it, they actually start buying stuff. And so I was able to, all I did was send an email out and had people buy stuff. I was like, damn, that is crazy. It's like,
Yeah,
now I was like, so I just have to repeat the process of,
yeah.
you know, continue to reach out to people and scale that and continue to do that. But it was just a blessing being able to see that, because I ain't never had that before. I didn't even know it was really possible.
It's a thing. I had a merch website before that I built just to see if I could do it like in 2019. And I
Hmm.
didn't keep up with it because it wasn't necessarily what I needed at the time, but like it
Yeah,
truly was cool to see how like building a contact list and reaching out really like resonated with people, because people love people that are like actually trying something. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be necessarily something that they want to wear every day or anything like that, but people truly do want to support others. And like I think it's also good because it shows that you have like the mentality of like I can fund myself, like I'm self-sufficient as an artist, and not
yeah,
carrying on so much debt, so it's good that you're finding other like routes of like funding your career instead of like getting a whole bunch of debt. And
yeah,
yeah, so it's good that you're
yeah,
going the business route. I always appreciate when artists like say they're trying to like learn those side of things, because I those are things like I'm naturally like into, because that's what I do. Like the
yeah,
contact contact people, emails, newsletters, like those are things I've always done just in my career like now, and I see the impact it does for the businesses I do it with. And
yeah,
most important things that I learned from one of my directors was like at the end of the day, you need to have contacts, because your website might, it might go off tomorrow, or Instagram might blow up tomorrow, or,
yeah,
at the end of the day, you need to have those emails and phone numbers. Those are the most important things to have as an artist. Because
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's how you're gonna able to reach out to them. If all some people don't like using social media anymore, you know? So like
yeah,
to have those things is important. So it's good that you're building like a client list or just a contact list actually. So that's great.
yeah.
2023 seems to be starting off good so far then.
Oh yeah, it's dope. It's real dope. And like I said with the members and stuff, like I be sending like I keep contact with them at least once a week. Send out because something I do is like every Monday I send out a message with stuff that I learned. Like this morning what message I sent this morning? Basically, I was talking about just like instead of I give them like quick wise words, I guess you'd call it. And I was telling them to make sure that just instead of focusing on the goals, stay like you invest in like the steps because I mean the goal is just the destination to pull you through the steps that build you into what it takes to get to that point. And so really, I mean, it's good to know your goal, but I always feel it's always important to really invest and focus more on each step because those are the steps you're gonna have to go through and you're gonna sit with for a while because you don't know exactly how long it's gonna take. But just in being able to enjoy those steps and stuff like that, I feel once you're able to enjoy the process, you're unstoppable. You can do anything.
Yeah, because I just don't understand when people that would just remind I don't like when people are on Twitter all day complaining about like I just want to make it or be there already. It's like, from
Yeah,
where? Like make where? Like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing now, why do you think
yeah,
you enjoy it when it's at the scale of 10? You're gonna have to keep doing what you're doing. It's
yeah,
might not have to like worry about money as much, but you actually do because you're gonna have to pay those people working on it. So like
yeah,
everything is still everything on every level. So if you're not enjoying it now, you're not gonna enjoy it in 5 years. That's just
yeah,
I truly believe that. And so it's good that you said step by step, enjoy the process.
yeah. And that was something I saw like back in college. Like I would say probably my sophomore year. Yeah, it was after because I committed to the music like my freshman year in college, so 2015, and then by my sophomore year, it got to a point where I couldn't get away from it. Like I actually thought about just going back to like focusing on school and stuff like that, but then it was like it was like a guilty conscience started hitting me in my head and stuff. I was like, nah, I got to go back to it. I mean, I fought it for a while, but it was like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and commit to it. God must be talking to me about this. And then after a while, because I didn't enjoy, what I was doing in school. I think at the time it was like business. Then I switched to kinesiology. Uh, Kinesiology was a little better because I learned more about health and stuff like that to take care of myself. But I didn't care for anything that had
Yeah.
to do with school. I knew I wanted to do music, and there was a point where I wanted to drop out just because I know like my music was horrible back then. So I had to like focus more on it. But I knew music's what I wanted to do, and anything else would like I'd be miserable doing it. Yeah, I could make a lot of money and stuff like that, no problem. But if I wasn't gonna enjoy it, then it was like kind of pointless to. Now it's like, what's the point? All right, now it was kind of dark, but it's like, what's the point of living if I'm just gonna do something that I fucking hate doing for the rest of my life?
Exactly. That's
So I
good
was
that
like,
you're aware. It's so good that
yeah,
you're aware. Because I just
yeah,
watched a TV show. I'm into horrible bad reality TV, and this guy was like, I was a finance person. I decided to do it. I decided to go the money route, and it was like, he was like, it was cool, but I was dead, and I quit, and then I started traveling the world, and I'm like, I feel like a lot of people I meet that go the money route end up even if they don't quit or anything, they end up investing in some type of art form or like something they truly cared about on the side at the end of the day. So like
yeah,
I don't even think it's necessarily people have to quit. It's just like at least try to incorporate in your life or you're gonna hate life.
yeah. And so yeah, and that's something like it just hit me hard. Like I tried fighting, and it's like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, and like
Yeah.
I just stayed with it. I mean, had to take an extra year in college just because I had to drop classes, and I really was about to drop out. So there was a point where I did not care about any of my classes.
Mhm.
Uh, but I found, it actually became a blessing that I had that extra year because I used that extra year to like really focus in, and I wasn't doing track anymore. So it was just nothing but school and music, and so and I all my friends graduated, so I ain't had nobody to talk to or nothing. So
Perfect.